if you guys remember that movie Wag the Dog, it was somewhat a comedy that basically tried to put everything happening in the world was basically a construction of the media, designed of the media, and shaped by the media. I would argue as I get older and I learn more and I meet more people that maybe that's not as far from the truth as we thought it was when it was coming out. I have to look at what's going on now and see that. I mean, look at what you and I both know. Any normal thinking human being can look at or logical thinking human being can look around and see the world is not what the news tells us it is. Remember, Clinton had a 95% chance, right? I mean, that was what we were told. Wag the Dog, yeah, that was the movie. But if you look at what's happening, that's exactly how this world this country is being run right now. And I always say these things, and my first thought is that leads to some much bigger questions and answers for me. I've been friends with Kevin and LJ for a couple years now, and I'm not going to lie. When I first met Kevin, I thought Kevin was a retired old kook, throwing his conspiracy theories left and right. But as I read Barefoot Calvary and listened to LJ speak on a daily basis, things that were happening, on a daily basis, were doing nothing other than reinforcing these things that these two were telling me. 2 years ago, they both sat me down. Well, not sat me down, but we had a virtual meeting in many ways, and they were talking about this sex ring, this pedophilia, human trafficking, Hollywood-centered, DC-centered, blah, blah, blah. And, I didn't think they were lying. I thought that, it's something they believe, but how much could be true? Well, nothing has come out in the last 2 years to do anything but support and back every single thing that they've told me. Now, when I get their links and I get the challenge is that if you look at Able Danger and things like that, they are scoffed at and dismissed as Alex Jones kooks. Alex Jones has been made a punchline, and I got to tell you, the guy has been far more right than wrong in the last 2 years. I think that I wonder. But here's the thing: when you go down this line of thought and you follow this path of thinking, it leads to a very potentially scary place. And I'm not a doomsday hide in the woods prepper. The world is going to end kind of a person, but I also am very okay with my ability to rationalize and reason the world I'm looking at. And the world I'm looking at is so askew and so screwed up. And the left would have you believe anything but that. What are you so paranoid for? And everything that we're not paranoid. We're prepared and we're aware, and that absolutely ruins the arguments that the left brings to the table. And this last election was exactly what happens when you threaten the establishment. Brexit is what happens when you look at the reaction of these people. And you see, all of this makes sense in the context of the panic that we saw from the left after the election, does it not? All of these things we're finding out about, we would have never known had Hillary Clinton won the election, because all these people were paid for, were covered. You and I would have no concept or idea that the A1 brothers were traders inside of our government with access to every ounce of information our government had and possessed. we wouldn't know about the corruption of James Comey. He'd still be running the FBI in my mind. And we're watching the oppression of conservative values and beliefs across the board, from a news perspective and from an online perspective and from from a presence perspective. You and I, if we aren't active, are being painted a picture of a world that isn't real, that doesn't exist. And here's the challenge, I guess, that I have for you guys out there that somebody just said, it's not awakening for me. I've known for a while. Ditto. And I know that. I know a lot of people. But if you want to get more people to listen, maybe not buy in, but just listen to the stories you tell, you have to be you have to find a way to push the message softer. If that makes any sense. It's one of the things that I try and talk with when I talk with LJ and with Kevin. Kevin's barefootcavalry.com, by the way. Barefootcavalry.com is a blog. I try to tell them that maybe, and it's obviously it's all your perspective, but one of the things that the challenge is that people are not going to pay attention if they can just dismiss you offhand. And the stuff that Kevin writes about is very Ann Coulterish in the sense that you can fact check him till you're blue in the face, and the stuff that he types and puts out there is you can validate. You have to work as hard as he's worked to put that information in front of your eyes. But somebody like Abel Danger is dismissed as a wacky kook because the media has you believe that he's a wacky kook based on the criteria that they use. And the criteria that they use is anyone that believes the government can do ill to the people in a conspiracy way. And we've been shown that. Well, hell, have you guys seen Chappaquiddick? If you haven't seen it, go see it. Go see Chappaquiddick and understand the depths and the levels of corruption inside of our government. The Kennedys are called basically the Kennedy compound is Camelot. This is one of the most crooked families in the history of politics. I think JFK, even though he was a dirtbag man of a husband, I think he was potentially a great president. But the rest of the family is a bunch of scumbag. The father, the patriarch of the family, was a rum-running dirtbag bootlegger, and they gained enormous power. And that's the other thing is I'm still trying to figure out. If you go back and watch, it doesn't tell you how the Kennedys came to be, but I would love to know the true story, the true details of the story behind the Kennedys' rise to power and fame. Was it just money? Because a lot of people have money and have probably more money than the Kennedys have, but their ability to influence us, and I mean the brainwashing that has gone on here in New England to hold them up as this regal family is repulsive. Anyway, let's go. Yeah, let's do an early dose of Kevin this morning. Kevin, good morning, buddy. How are we? How are you? Big man, you there, Kev?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
All right. Hey, Curt, when I was telling you about the 13th Amendment yesterday,
right?
With Jackson, who is Trump's favorite president, when Jackson won, they made so much fun of the drunks coming in the White House and falling out the windows. But what had happened there was the people had taken back the country. And the Federalists had tried to destroy our war effort, and people had turned against them. And so when they say that Jackson brought the rabble into Washington, D.C., no, the people took the country back at that time.
Right. Well, which makes sense, Kevin, because the left thinks that we are rabble. Do they not? We're deplorables.
See, Trump understood that, and he said,
right.
I like Jackson. He did what was right. Keep your eye on that. Yeah. We, the people, have the power to take this whole country and write it so that it sails on for another 250 years.
Yeah. I got to tell you, though, Kev, I'm with you. I agree. I agree. I think Brexit was the beginning of a worldwide awakening. But I also
you see
feel
what happened with Brexit, because those people over there have been bent over too long. They couldn't have a crossbow. The crossbows were illegal.
Kevin,
you know?
we've been fed the belief
of serfdom.
We've been fed the belief that populism makes you a Nazi. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, they want us to be just like Europe, which is neutered capons, you know?
Right. Yep. Hey, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, pal.
You're a man, Curt.
God bless you, and you keep doing what you're doing, buddy. And tell LJ I said hello. And I'm going to swing down that way at some point in the future, and I got to get a night at your house again, because that was the most comfortable bed I've ever slept in. So, love you, buddy. That's Kevin from Florida, and barefootcavalry.com is the website. And the audio just went out again, I know, for you guys. So we're going to go to a break here in just a second. And on the flip side is Ian Mason, the DOJ court reporter for Breitbart News. You can follow him at IP_MASON on